A few days before this edition of Epilogue podcast, LeBloc had to go to sickbay and get dental surgery. That's why he's speaking like he recently had dental surgery. Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hi, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today, we are discussing Deep Space Nine, Season 7, Episode 6. Treachery, Faith, and the Great River. Weyoun attempts to defect to the Federation before he is killed by Weyoun, and O'Brien gets the Ferengi treatment from Nog. What did you think of this one?
I enjoyed it. Having a focus on O'Brien usually works out. I like when he's stressed.
But he's always stressed.
But they don't always focus on his stress. I imagine even when he's not in an episode, he's really stressed out off screen.
It's his character. It worked well with O'Brien because this was a kind of Jake and Nog B-plot, where Jake and Nog would do a bunch of crazy trades. They've done that a couple times in the past, but here instead of Jake, it's O'Brien, who's the sort of fall guy.
Which makes it way funnier because when O'Brien gets in trouble, it's serious.
Yeah, Jake's a big goof, so if he messes up, there's no suspense there. He's not got any responsibilities or any authority. He's just a kind of space bum.
Whereas O'Brien has duties and obligations, and he could suffer serious consequences.
It was also good they didn't focus on the trading so much as they showed O'Brien's confused reaction to what was going on, whilst Nog was off doing it in the background, in the shadows.
That was a smart choice. The actual dealings I don't care about, but then to have O'Brien walk into a situation and say, "Wait, what just happened? Why is his blood wine gone?"
They didn't even explain what that was about.
No, it was great.
Clearly, it's some line of trades in a big sequence.
It also makes the sequence seem huge because they don't actually. I mean, we hear part of the list, but you can imagine it's even longer because we don't know all the details.
Yeah, how did it get from engineering equipment to blood wine? There's a few steps missing there. The A plot, then, that was kind of a war-related story, a Dominion War related.
They chose a plot that makes so much sense to me, but I never considered, and that's Odo is thought of as a god. He should have followers. People should be defecting and following Odo as the one true god or whatever. And that's only a tiny aspect of this, and it's more about he wanted to save himself from being killed or whatever. Weyoun, 6, 5, I don't remember. 6. So I like that they explored that, because with any religion you have the evil thing that you're supposed to fear, but then people will worship that instead.
He was doing it for the greater good of the Dominion, so it fit within his religious sort of context.
He justified it well enough.
It was a good little story, I thought, a good little character piece. And it was good to get a lot of Jeffrey Combs screen time, because he is the best.
Double the Combs.
He did that really well. 2 Weyouns, and they were subtly different.
They were. Not that they ever shared a room or anything where we would be confused, but each felt different when they were on the screen.
We never got the cliched scene where they're fighting and someone doesn't know which one is the good Wayoon. And then one of them says, just shoot both of us.
I'm the real one, you idiot. Can't you tell?
I'm very glad we didn't get that. Oh, I'd probably like that anyway. I mean, I wouldn't complain.
It's Wayoon. He would sell it.
For sure.
That cliched shot where there's one on the left, one on the right, and it's split right down the middle, and they're looking past each other because there's not really a person there.
Good times. I know exactly what you mean. I can't even think of something that used that. But I know exactly what you mean. We found out that the founders are ill.
They're dying from an STD.
We don't know that it's sexually transmitted, but if they've all got it, chances are.
Their existence is sexual, so anything that's transmitted is by default a sexually transmitted disease.
They just have one giant good time going all the time. all time's a good time. So any disease that transmits, pretty much any way in which it transmits, it will immediately infect the entire population.
That doesn't seem advantageous. How have they lasted this long?
I guess they don't get diseases very often.
When the female changeling was first on screen, I thought her makeup was just bad and that they did it poorly. But then
They wouldn't make a mistake like that.
I know, it was really jarring. But then she steps closer to the camera, or the camera zooms in. I don't remember. But we get a closer look. And then I realized, oh no, that's totally intentional. But from far away, you can't really tell. It just looks off.
It was a hot day. It dried up a little.
They had to rush the makeup. They've done rush jobs before. This isn't makeup, but the thing that comes to mind is when Odo changed into his tux or out of his tux, and it looked really bad.
That was a computer effect. And considering it was made in the late 90s, and I don't think the budget was phenomenal, it's unsurprising that a computer effect might not look great, but they tend to be very consistent with makeup and costumes.
Yeah, that's fair. Those are different constraints.
I remember one time when Ducat's armor was flopping around, it came
Oh yeah.
detached. That's one of the very few costuming errors I can think of, so they wouldn't make a mistake on the one of the main characters' makeup. Give them a little bit of credit. They've been doing this for decades.
I do give them credit, but it stood out because you don't get a good look.
So did Wayoon say they were dying or just unwell?
I don't remember.
Oh no, because he said Odo would probably be the only one left. And he would be the guy in charge of the Dominion.
Odo's New World Order.
I think that Wayoon was defective. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Why not?
Well, if all the leaders die, does the entire empire just go to some dude that's on the other team? I guess it's very old-fashioned.
Well, when they made those rules, changelings had never defected, so they never had a contingency plan for when a changeling was on the other side.
It does seem like if the founders all died, the Vorta and the Jem'Hadar would end their own lives.
That's got to be in the defining paperwork.
Well, we've seen the Jem'Hadar kill themselves when a founder dies. That's their responsibility to help. And we've seen in this episode the Vorta can suicide as well.
And it's not instant. That's so cruel.
Does it need to be instant? I guess that's the logic the founders used.
Whatever works, as long as they're dead.
Just make it simple and effective. And then just tell them, yeah, don't worry, it's just painless. It'll be over in a flash.
I'm surprised that information has not reached the Vorta. Wouldn't they see one of them die?
They tend to work alone, don't they?
Oh, okay.
It all goes through space relays and stuff. I guess the Dominion has some kind of cellular structure. We got to see more Damar and Weiyun 7 as well.
Not a whole lot of trust between those two.
Yeah, I get the sneaking suspicion that Damar killed Weiyun 5.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, that was Damar's comment, kind of.
I thought Cardassians came up with the judgment first. I forgot how all that worked.
Well, he was being a bit more flippant. Who cares? If I did it, he's dead now. Ha 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 ha. He'll never pin anything on me. Damar always seems kind of angry.
He does. He doesn't ever go lower than I am irritated right now.
Well, he's stuck in kind of a rubbish situation because it seems like whatever deal Ducat got with the Dominion, it wasn't exactly the best deal. We know Ducat isn't the sharpest spanner in the fridge, but I don't know to what extent he's sold out Cardassia. It seems like a bit, though.
He just wants to relax and drink some Kanar.
Have we seen him not drinking?
I don't know, but it stood out to me after this episode. We see him drinking Kanar a lot.
That's one way to deal with your problems.
He needs an intervention.
Does he? I don't know. Sometimes it's advantageous for in a war if the enemy leader is a bit drunk.
Okay.
Sloshed. Well, if you get him with a clear head, maybe he'd be more effective. I don't know. I don't know how Cardassians get drunk or how drunk he is.
Maybe they are reverse drunks, where they will be drunk if they don't drink.
Like Bender.
Yeah, he runs on alcohol, so he has to constantly be drinking. That's why Ducat went insane. He didn't drink enough Kanar. We saw him drinking, but not often.
And who knows what he was drinking? That could have been coffee or something.
Ractagino?
Or Ractagino, yes.
AKA coffee?
Yeah. Space coffee.
Yeah.
Speaking of bizarre consumption, there was a fantastic little scene of Weiyun eating a pepperoni pizza with chopsticks.
He stabs a pepperoni.
I don't know how he got so far through that pizza with chopsticks. That seems impractical.
Never underestimate Weiyun's will to accomplish a task.
He'll beat any hurdle, whether it's big or, in this case, trivial. I have a little quote from Jeffrey Combs, which ties this all together quite nicely.
Ooh.
He said, "I thought of each Weiyun as a different slice of the same pizza. One slice just didn't have any pepperoni on it."
When did he say that? Was that before this episode?
I don't know. It must have been after. It would be too much of a coincidence.
Yeah, it's too convenient if that happened before.
Well, before he'd only done Weiyun 4 and 5, who were essentially the same.
I really like that they brought back that clone idea in a different way instead of just, oh, okay, this one died again. Here's another new one who's maybe slightly different. it's cool that they found a way to have two coexist.
They levered that idea in, so it's good they played with it. Wayun 7 seems to have a nasty streak as well. I'd say he's a bit defective too.
Why?
Well, he's kind of the other way. He was not willing to directly attack Odo, but he was all for letting Damar do it. He's only one step removed from that.
That was an unusual turn. How willing he was to kill a founder. The old Wayun would have never stood for that.
Yeah, Wayun 5 would not have acted that way. He would have told Damar to shove it.
This Wayun has a lot of pepperoni on his slice.
He's got all the pepperoni that Wayun 6 should have had.
Does that mean there are limited slices? Because you can't I guess you could infinitely cut a pizza.
Yes, but each Wayun is slightly smaller than the last one.
He loses height with each iteration.
Yeah, you get up to Wayun 22 and he's only
a foot tall.
Yeah, he's tiny.
Damar keeps him in his pocket.
Little backpack, little baby carrying backpack.
I would love to see Damar with a baby Bjorn with a tiny Wayun.
Oh, so cute. We got a rule of acquisition.
Was it a new one, or have we heard this one before? I can't keep track anymore.
I didn't check, but I think it's new. Number 168, Whisper Your Way to Success.
How do you feel about this one?
That's actually good advice.
So you shouldn't shout your secrets and let everyone know?
No, the reason there's secrets is because other people shouldn't know. If you look up, I think it was Disney World, if you look up how Disney bought the land for Disney World, that's a good example of why you should whisper your way to success. They had to use tons of companies to buy all the land, because if they just started buying up plots of land in a certain area, all the owners of the land they hadn't bought would see what was happening and the prices would skyrocket. So they had to do all this sort of sub-acquisition stuff to get it at, I'm not going to call it a fair price, but a price they could afford. Eventually it was all rumbled. It's quite an interesting story. So as rules of acquisition, I think this is one of the few that's both good business advice and catchy, well-formed phrase that's not aping some earth saying.
This is one of the better ones, yeah.
It may even be the best one ever.
I'll go with that. They didn't shoehorn Latinum in there. It doesn't copy an idiom we're familiar with. Good stuff.
10 out of 10. Actually, it's better than 10 out of 10. It's 10 out of 15.
That's not how that works.
I rarely do this, and I don't think you've ever done this, but the title of the episode is one I like a lot.
Why do you like it so much?
Because it works on loads of levels.
Oh man, I just got it.
You did?
Well, I forgot that Nog talked about the river thing.
Great Material Continuum, yes. Great River.
That thing, yes.
He even says you got to have faith. And Rom says, oh, it can be very treacherous.
I didn't even catch that.
It goes further than that, though. It basically fits for all three plot lines. Odo and Wayun, obviously. Wayun is struggling with his treachery. Odo is struggling with Wayun's faith. And what runabout were they on?
I'm guessing the Rio Grande.
That's right. Which is the Great River. Also, the Rio Grande crashed in the ascent, so they must have fixed it pretty well. So, but whatever, it fits. there. And also in the Wayun Damar plotline, Treachery and Faith, and the Great River, the Great Link. Damar's treachery versus Wayun's faith. So it works on all three levels, and it sounds nice.
It does sound nice.
Not a random part of a Bible quote or a Shakespeare quote or something in Latin or whatever.
I'm so used to just ignoring the titles that I've missed how clever this one is and how fitting it is.
They do tend to lean on overly dramatic titles that often I don't think are very memorable. So that's good. You see how Odo was going to see Gul Rusal?
All by himself, yes.
He went to the cave set. It reminded me of last time he went to the cave set in season 3 to see a unnamed Cardassian. I think the episode was called Improbable Cause.
Is that when they were at different levels?
Yeah, he's high up in the shadows, and Odo's looking around. Like, I don't know where that sound is coming from.
Yeah, I remember because that was so goofy.
And then the guy throws something and Odo just catches it. I think he does, something like that. That might have been Gul Russell. Russell. Let's just call him that.
Okay.
But then again, I'm sure there's caves that look exactly like that all across the galaxy. So who knows? Sisko is really unreasonable with O'Brien.
He chops everything down to a tiny fraction of what O'Brien says, of what time frame O'Brien says he needs. Maybe he knows this already and he dramatically inflates his estimates because he knows Sisko's going to say, well, I need 3 months to do this. All right, do it in 2 days.
It seems like if O'Brien told Sisko, hey, Keiko's having a baby, it's going to take 9 months, Sisko would say, you've got 2 weeks. He's supposed to cut 2 weeks off, not cut it down to 2. It's not. He's supposed to cut it to 90%, not by 90%.
Yeah, he flipped it.
18 hours, I want it in 16. Oh, yes, that makes sense. Not 18 hours, I want it in 2 minutes.
3 tops.
O'Brien, I liked your birthday party. When's your next one? What, next year? No, next month, O'Brien. Do you have a quote from this episode?
Why be a god if there's no one to worship you?
I guess.
I can imagine Sisko saying that.
Isn't that just begging a definition, though?
It depends what a god is.
It's a bit of a tree in the forest situation.
If no one worships you, are you a god?
You're just some dude. But from Wayne's point of view, it would make sense. Because everything the founders do makes sense.
Right. If the Vorta were all wiped out, he still would say, I mean, he would be dead because he's a Vorta and be wiped out, but he would see them as still gods, even though no one would be around to worship them.
Yeah, it's a little bit of faith logic there. I had a little quote, which I could share.
I guess.
At the end, Odo says, I'm paraphrasing now because I didn't write it down, whoever wins, I lose.
Yeah.
Which is the tagline of Aliens versus Predator and every US election. It was good to see Odo put it on such stark terms. He's getting screwed over one way or the other.
I'm so used to rooting for against the founders that I forget that what that means to Odo.
People always love their parents, even if their parents are Hitler.
A pool of Hitler.
Just the Hitler gunk.
Amorphous Hitler.
No, Mom, Dad, you're Hitler gunk.
You're getting your Hitler everywhere.
Oh, it's really sticky and racist. Okay, I think we should maybe move on to the next episode.
I think so too.
Okay, let's do that then.
Will you give me your blessing to move on?
Sure, why not? I'll give you an sort of insincere and hesitant blessing. That should be good enough for a dying man.
I was gonna be so sad if he didn't say something. He's dying. Just say it, Odo.
It's a good thing Wayne had a really low bar for what Odo has to do to be impressive.
Good enough. Okay, I can die.
If he was critical, he would have said, "Come on, seriously.
Come on, I'm dying here.
Give me a proper blessing."
Literally dying here. This is my literal dying wish.
Yeah, do it properly. Come on, start again. There's a conviction in your voice. Okay, right, next episode.